50 games played, 32 teams, 1 trophy. What is the ceilings for each NHL team for the rest of the season? It is your boy Wild Rocky, guys, and I am on Tier Maker for this amazing video, guys. What is the ceiling for each of these NHL teams for the rest of the year, guys? There is 6 categories. Let's go over them. We have Stanley Cup or bust. You heard it right. Stanley Cup or bust. If you do not win a Stanley Cup, it is an utter failure for their season, guys. Should contend means you guys should be winning a couple playoff series, maybe just 1 or 2, and that is good enough for your team, fan base, whatever. You guys should be at least winning at least a playoff series. Then make playoffs. The bare minimum for most NHL teams, guys, is they want to make the playoffs. So can these teams actually make the playoffs? We'll see. Then the teams that are just under that is the fringe playoff teams that are in the playoff hunt always, but maybe they might squeak out, might sneak in. Who knows? That is that, guys. Then there's no hope, guys. There's this team that we've lost all hope. The fan base are already looking at the draft and looking for next year. And that's honestly might be a lot of teams. The next one, guys, is going to be Celebrini. That's the last one. And that is pretty self-explanable, guys. We all know who Celebrini is and how good he is and what teams are going to be there. There's quite a few. Okay, guys, let's do this. We're going to go in order. I did not write pre-notes about, okay, the Ducks are going to go here, blah. I'm doing this on the fly, guys. I'm doing this on the fly. So do this with me, guys. Comment down below if I'm crazy or not. What do you think your team should be in? I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible, but I always drag it on. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. First team here is going to be the Anaheim Ducks, guys. They're a good team. No, they're not, guys. We all know what 2 categories they're going to be in. It's either no hope or Celebrini, because honestly, they got no hope, man. There's been rumors that Zegras is going to get traded. I don't really know, man, what's going to happen. But Celebrini has got to be on their mind. If they get Celebrini, they could definitely up the rebuild. Are they going to have to rebuild again? Because this team is not looking any good, man. They don't have a goalie. Their team is in shambles, bro. I'm going to be honest with you. This Ducks team is very, very bad. They have no hope, and they need Celebrini, so they could go in either of those 2. Up next is the Arizona Coyotes, guys. And, I mean, off these rumors, are they going to be... and off these rumors, guys, are they even going to be playing in Arizona next year? Who knows? I'm guessing they will be, obviously. I think they're being in Arizona long term. But I got to put them in fringe playoff team. They're looking better this year than they ever have in a long, long time. But still, it's going to take a lot to get in. And if they win their games in hand, it could definitely be possible if Nashville or a couple of these teams start losing their games. They could definitely sneak in if they go on a run. Arizona, they're a fun team to watch. They're a fun team to watch, if you know why. Okay, Boston Bruins, guys. We all thought at the beginning of the season, maybe not everyone, but I was definitely one of them, saying, hey, you guys lost a lot of players. You're going to be cheeks. Boys, they're not cheeks, guys. They're not cheeks. They're a good team, guys. They're a good team. Stanley Cup or bust? I wouldn't. Honestly, I wouldn't put that past them. I'm either thinking cup or bust or should contend, because they should be contending. But at the same time, they're an older team. Marchand's not getting any younger, but they still got Pasta. They still got a lot of young guys, too. It's either, I'm going to go Stanley Cup or bust. I know that's what it kind of was last year, too. And it didn't bust. I mean, they lost, but it didn't bust. So, like, I don't really know if that's right. Or should they contend? I'm going to put them Stanley Cup or bust. This team should be winning. They should be winning a lot of playoff series, a lot of games. And we'll see if they can do that from last year. Okay. Carolina Hurricanes, guys. I don't want to put too many teams in Stanley Cup or bust, because honestly, I don't think it's a Stanley Cup or bust for the Hurricanes. I'm going to put a should contend, because they're a really, really good team. They're going to win a couple playoffs here. They're not losing in the first round. I promise you they're not losing in the first round. But also, if they lose in, let's say, the 3rd or 2nd round again, I don't think it's a bust. I think they're going to be right back there next year. I think they have a good core to do that. Obviously, their D-men got Burns getting not any younger. So you do got issues with that. So it's kind of Stanley Cup or bust, because they need a win, man, because they've won. They've been in the 2nd, 3rd round the last like 4 years, man. They just haven't got past that hurdle. But I'm going to say should contend. But if there was like a category in between those, I would have put them there. But because they're better than should contend, they're better than some of these teams. Honestly, I'm sure I'm going Stanley Cup or bust, man. They've been there too long to not be winning a Stanley Cup. I thought they were going to win a couple years ago. They have not. So should contend. I think they're better than that. Chicago Blackhawks, we all know this, guys. Celebrini. The NHL might rig it again to get Bedard and Celebrini together. If that happens, guys, oh my God, there's going to be a whole riot. There's already a riot with Bedard being there. But, man, the Blackhawks, man, they're a bad team. They're really, really bad. Obviously, Bedard getting hurt is not obviously good for the NHL, good for them. But, obviously, he's still probably going to win Rookie of the Year, guys, because the race this year really isn't too big. But, yeah, man, Chicago, bad team. If the NHL gives it to them again, oh Lord, have mercy, help the NHL. Colorado Avalanche, guys. Okay, see, they're favorites of the Stanley Cup. They're supposed to win the Stanley Cup this year, but are they I don't like the bust. I don't think they're Stanley Cup or bust. You know, like they're not like if they lose, they're still a really good team, man. You know what I mean? They're still a really good team. I'm gonna add a new one. All right, guys, here we go. I like this one a lot more. Stanley Cup favorites, the Avalanche. Like even if they lose, they're not going to be a bust. They're still going to be right back up there next year. And these guys are favorites, man. They got to respect them. They're on a different level than these other two teams. So I like this way more. So up next is going to be the Columbus Blue Jackets, guys. The Blue Jackets, see, they're a bad team. Like, let's look at the standings here, guys. They're 29th, 42 points. They're not looking good. Obviously, this team is in a weird spot, man. They're like, they have good players. They have good young guys. They have some older guys as well that are solid. But they just can't put it together. Obviously, a lot of injuries. Line A is obviously horrible. Fantilli, absolutely horrible, obviously. Hopefully, he's okay. That's a scary injury there. But, like, I'm going to say no hope, man. Because there is every year we're watching the air fans like, okay, like, we could actually do this. Like, last year, like, okay, like, injuries plagued us for sure. Next year is our year to maybe sneak into the playoffs. And boy, oh boy, they've been very, very bad, man. Merz Lincoln's isn't him right now. Obviously, a lot of injuries, just things just not going their way. If they, I mean, honestly, I'm gonna put them in Celebrini, man. If they can get Celebrini, that would, oh my god, that would be huge for the franchise, man. That'd be huge for maybe not the NHL, but like that'd be huge for the fan base, man. The fan base deserves a really good team. They're a really bad team. They're still selling out, so I got to give my props to the Columbus fans, man. It's absolutely huge because Columbus really do get a lot of heat towards their fan base, or trash state or whatever. They've been showing out for their team, even though they're not putting a good team on the ice. So that is that, guys. If they get Celebrini, that'd be huge. I think they do deserve. They're one of the teams that do deserve it. Same thing with the Anaheim Ducks, guys, because they've been missing out. They missed out on Crosby and Bedard. Like, that's upsetting. Okay, guys, Dallas Stars here. It should contend. If they lose, if they're not a bust, they're a really, really good team still. They're very, very young. But obviously, that's actually not true at the same time because you have Matt Duchene, who's up there in age. You have Jamie Benn. You have Sagan, who's up there in age. But obviously, you do have your young core as well. You have Ruppe Hintz. You have Robertson. You have Ollinger. You have Heiskanen. You have a lot of good young players. So it's kind of like a mix. It's kind of like a mix, but I feel like they should be contending. I don't think it's Stanley Cup or bust. I think they will be up there. They'll win a playoff series or two, and they should be a really, really good team. Detroit Red Wings. This team is really close to playoffs. They're in a playoffs right. I think they're with the 8th seed right now in the Eastern Conference, but it's gonna be a lot of fighting for that spot. So it's either make playoffs or fringe playoff team. I'm gonna put them in fringe playoff team. No, I'm gonna say make playoffs. Obviously, if they do not make playoffs, I feel like it's a very underwhelming season, a very disappointing season for the Red Wings. They're in it right now. Obviously, there's a couple teams with less games on them, like the Penguins. Hopefully, they can win their games at hand. But the Red Wings, man, they have a lot of good players. They got Patty Kane. They have DeBrincat. They have Larkin still. They still have Seider. They have a lot of good young players on this team, guys. Obviously, if they don't make playoffs, it's not the end of the world. But they definitely want to get these guys more experience. Obviously, I'm not expecting them to win a playoff series or two or something like that. But they're a good team, and they should be making playoffs from where they are right now. Florida Panthers, guys, this team is so good, man. I'm gonna put them in should contend. Being in should contend doesn't mean that they're worse than those Stanley Cup or bust, or the Stanley Cup. Obviously, they're worse than the Stanley Cup favorites, but that doesn't mean the Panthers are worse than the Bruins or Hurricanes. That just means they don't have to win. They're definitely a wagon. I would not want to play them in the first round. Matthew Tkachuk, he just comes alive in playoffs, man. Same thing with Brovsky. This team is unreal. Edmonton Oilers, man, honestly, Stanley Cup or bust. Yeah, I looked at the odds, and they were favored to win the whole Stanley Cup over the Avalanche, which is kind of crazy. I know they just won a 16-game winning streak, but I feel like they do that. Like last year, going to the playoffs, they were on like a 14-game winning streak. And obviously, they won the first round barely, but then ended up getting basically smacked by the Golden Knights. So I don't think they should be favorites, but I think they need to do something, man. They need to do something. McDavid, Draisaitl need to have a great playoff. They need Stuart Skinner to have a great playoff. They need to go far. Obviously, 2-3 years ago when they played the Avalanche, they went to the conference finals. Obviously, they did end up getting swept, but still, they went that far. They could do it again. I think they do make it to the conference finals this year. They got to get past Vegas, man. If they don't have to play Vegas, they're 100% in the conference finals. They're going to have to play the Colorado Avalanche, but maybe they get lucky. Maybe Colorado is a bad series and they lose and they have to play maybe a Dallas. I think they can be like a Dallas, man. I think they can beat a Dallas. If they play Colorado in the conference finals, I think there's no hope for them. But man, this team, I think they have to win, man, or McDavid and Draisaitl are going to get so upset. If they lose early on, especially, it is absolutely horrible. If they can't get past the Golden Knights again, boy, oh boy, there's going to be some fire in Edmonton, man. The New York Islanders, man, I think they're a fringe playoff team. This team it's all right, man. Obviously, they're getting better with Patrick Wall being the head coach, but still, not a lot of goal scoring on the team. I say it all the time. Barzal and Horvat can only do so much. Sorokin, same thing there. He can only do so much. And they've been losing a lot of games in overtime, so they're getting some points, but it's just not good enough, guys. It's just not good enough. And I feel like, I mean, it's definitely possible. There's still a lot of hockey to play, but they're on the outside looking in. But it is definitely possible, but it's a slim chance in my book. Up next is the LA Kings, man. What happened to this team? They just fired all their coaches, all that stuff. They were a good team, man. But wow, what happened? The defense is horrible. The Dubois trade, I look so dumb, bro. I was like, Dubois, it's gonna be a great trade. He fits perfectly with the Kings. What has he done? What has he done? The Kings screwed up with that one, I guess, man. And the Jets, we thought the Jets were going to be bad. They got only Iafallo, whatever. They're thriving, bro. They're thriving without Beard. with BLD, man. They're thriving without him. So Kings, man, honestly, obviously they're going to be making playoffs. There's no hope, bro. What's happening? What happened? You just like ruined your season. Like the season is all weird, bro. But obviously I can't put them there. They're going to be making playoffs, man. Honestly, no. I'm sticking with it. The Kings have been absolutely abysmal this year. And obviously they could go a little hot streak and I could look absolutely stupid. But as of now, man, it is very, very disappointing. And the ceiling is, what is there with the Kings? You're not winning a playoff series, man. Unless you get super, super lucky, you're not winning a playoff series. Up next is the Minnesota Wild. Where are they in the standings right now? Where are they in the standings right now? They're okay. That did not look good. Wild card for the Western Conference. Oh, they're far. They're okay. They're only 5 points out. There's a lot of tight teams here, tight race. A lot of injuries on this team. Yeah, I'm not looking too good for the Wild. I'm gonna say fringe playoff team. I'm not looking. I don't. Once again, I said that before the season. I don't like how the roster is built for the Minnesota Wild. I feel like they're too reliant on Kaprizov, and he hasn't really been that good this year. He's been stepping up as of late, but early on he was very, very struggling. A lot of injuries on with this team as well. With Gustafsson coming back, this team could maybe do good, but I just feel like injuries definitely hurt their season, and they're just gonna be fighting too much to fight back on. I mean, the Central Division has been better than we thought this year, so maybe, I don't know, maybe Nashville falls down, maybe Minnesota goes on a hot streak. They're gonna have to go on a hot streak, but if they start losing again, man, it's gonna be a tough way to make the playoffs. But I think fringe playoff team could definitely make it, but I wouldn't hold my breath. Up next is the Montreal Canadiens, guys. No hope for this team. This team is very, very bad. They're not gonna get Celebrini. Let's be real here. But this team just bad, man. Like, how bad are they this year? Where are they? 50 points. I mean, it's just very. It's not even mid. Like, mid is like fringe playoff. They're not fringe playoff. I don't know what they got to do. Slavkovsky, he's been doing better, so we do kind of like that. I don't know what's wrong with the team. Like, it's just not built right. I mean, they have some good players. Matheson on the back end is unreal. Obviously, you have Nick Suzuki. You have Caulfield. You have some good players, man. But it's just not. It just doesn't work. I mean, like they can upset some good teams, but it just doesn't work in the long run, and they're just not gonna be making playoffs. So I just think, don't know what's going on with them. I'm gonna say no hope. Up next is the Nashville Predators. They're just the definition of mid. They're a fringe playoff team. They are basically every single season. I don't think they'll be making. I mean, they could be making playoffs. Obviously, I don't think they'll be winning a series or something like that. But I mean, Yossi's good. Saros is really, really good. I just don't think they have the depth scoring on their team to really, really go far in the playoffs, and that might actually make them sneak out of playoffs last second, the last week or two. We'll see with that. The Devils, man, this team is so interesting because they were such a good team last year. They were probably the Cinderella team of the NHL, and they have a lot of good young players. They have a very good young core with Hughes brothers, obviously. You have Jesper Bratt, you have Meyer, you have Hamilton, obviously. He's been hurt. Goalie issue is pretty big. Vanacek, he's been all right. He's been all right. Schmidt has been very bad. He's been in the AHL, and he hasn't been doing good either, which is very surprising. But this team has a lot of good young players. You have Nemec on the back end too. They should be a playoff team. They should be contending, man. But this year, a lot of injuries. I'm gonna say fringe playoff team. Who knows if they can get back into it? I wouldn't want to see them in the playoffs. But like, if they can make it there, they could definitely be contending. I don't know if they can make it there, man. Like, how far back are they? I mean, they're only 5 points out. It's a couple games in hand, but they got to win those games, man. -5 differential is not good. Look at the Islanders, man. -22 differential, horrible. So the Devils, I can definitely see them making it. So this definitely isn't, oh, their season's over. They could definitely make the playoffs, but it's not 100%, man. It's definitely not 100%. Rangers should contend, man. Hopefully they can contend. Like last year, they got exposed by the Devils last year, man. They were up 2-0. Pretty convincing those are pretty convincing first 2 games for them. Then they just got too content and just got absolutely rolled after that, to be honest with you. So Rangers, they should be doing better. Shesterkin hasn't been too good this season, actually, but they have a good roster in front of them. Obviously, Panarin's super hot, and they have a lot of good young players. As long as the depth scoring can stay there and Panarin doesn't choke in playoffs like he has been, the team can definitely contend and maybe win a playoff series or some. It's definitely in the cards for the New York Rangers. Ottawa Senators, man, no hope. Every season coming in, I'm like, dude, this team is looking good. They got Norris coming back. You just signed Tarasenko. You guys got Korpisalo. You got your goaltender. Cam Talbot was not the answer. I mean, he's been doing all right in LA. Korpisalo's been horrible. You guys have been putting the puck in the net, just defensive-wise. It's horrible. Korpisalo hasn't been making those big saves. I'm not saying he's a problem, but he hasn't been helping you. Yeah, this team's bad, bro. Like, on paper, you guys have a lot of really good players. A lot of really good players. And it just doesn't work, man. Like, how far out are you in playoffs? Oh, my God. You're second to last in the whole Eastern Conference, bro. That's horrible. Horrible. No hope, man. You guys have a lot of good players. It just doesn't work. New ownership, I don't know, man. I don't know. The whole organization is in a weird spot. The fan base is in a weird spot. I don't know what to do with them. Philadelphia, man. They're in a weird, like, they're in playoffs right now, but they're only up by 5 points with Pittsburgh and the Devils and the Islanders. Like, they shouldn't be here, but they just bought into the Torts role. I feel like I don't think they make playoffs, man. I think they're a fringe playoff team, and they might sneak in. That doesn't mean they're worse or better than others people, whatever. I'm not disrespecting Philly. They're a good team, but honestly, they shouldn't be here right now. If you look on paper, they just lost their goalie, obviously, Carter Hart. They don't have any superstars. Their best players who Travis Konechny. Like, I'm no disrespect, but Konechny isn't a superstar player. He's a good player. He's an all-star player, but he's not a superstar great player. So they just bought into the role and they're playing it right, and they're just winning games, man. They really are winning games. If they make the playoffs, they're not winning a playoff series. I wouldn't want to play them because it's just super physical, but I could see them making playoffs. But I'm gonna say fringe playoff team because I could definitely see them falling out because there's a couple of teams that are battling for that final spot. Pittsburgh is the same way, man. That's my team. I can't be biased. I think they can make playoffs, man. If Jari stays hot and we keep playing well and putting the puck in the net, I think we can definitely make the playoffs. If anything, we do. We're gonna get bounced first round. It's just what we do. But come on, we just need Sidney Crosby to make one more playoffs, man, and show him his skills because he's been unreal this season. So please, Pittsburgh, please make the playoffs. Please make the playoffs. It's low-key. Look, we should have our own spot. Playoffs or bust. Because if we don't make playoffs, man, tank the whole thing. Sell everybody. We're going to be bad. But we could definitely make the playoffs here. Is it likely? I don't know. But I have my hopes up. Am I going to get crushed? Probably. San Jose Sharks, Celebrini, they are so bad. But they have been more respectable than they were early on. What was it? 10, 13 in a row. I forgot the number in the row. But they were very, very bad, guys. Sharks were horrible. But they got more respectable. They're winning a couple more games. They're keeping them close. They're not losing 10-0 to the Canucks and 11-0 to the Penguins the day after. Like, it's not good. That's not them anymore. It's not them anymore. So I like that. I like the respect that they're getting. And they're keeping in the games. They're making it respectable. Seattle Kraken, they're a mid team, but they'll make playoffs, man. They'll make playoffs for sure. I think this team is solid. They're built for playoffs. I feel like they're built very depth-wise. They have a lot of depth. But the same thing here, same thing with the Flyers. Who's their superstar? Is it like Jared McCann? I get it. He put up 40 goals last year. Cool. And obviously, you have Borkstrand who's playing solid. But honestly, Matty Beniers, man, we thought last year after he won Rookie of the Year, like, cool, he's going to have a great season. And he's honestly been very disappointing. 19 points in 45 games. That is not good enough from the kid. But this team has a lot of, like, good players that buy into the role and they play the right way, so they could definitely maybe win. Like last year, they went to the second round, game 7 against the Stars. Like, who knows if they could definitely do that again. They're definitely a tough out. I wouldn't want to play them, especially playing in Seattle, man. It's a tough place to play. So Seattle, they're a mid team because they don't have any superstars on their team, but we'll see if anything happens. Make playoffs. I wouldn't expect anything else from that on the Kraken. St. Louis Blues, where are they right now? Where are they in the standings? I think they're in a playoff spot right now. They are, honestly, there's a lot of teams here that could, honestly, the Kraken aren't even make playoffs right now, but I do think they can sneak in. But honestly, I'm gonna say fringe, bro. I'm gonna say fringe. I don't think they have what it takes. Obviously, there's a lot of drama going on, like with Kyrou. I don't know about this team, man. Bennington is I mean, I don't know, bro. I'm gonna say fringe. They could definitely make it, but once again, there's a lot of teams fighting for it, and I just feel like they might fall out. The tough team to play, obviously, if they do make the playoffs, I don't think they're going to be winning a playoff series. They'll probably lose in 5, if I'm being honest with you. But that is that for the Blues. They just don't have any, like, I don't know, bro. They're just an okay team. They're just an okay team. Okay, guys, this Tampa Bay Lightning, they'll make playoffs. I don't think they should contend, but is that kind of disrespectful? Because this team is really, really good on paper. Obviously, you got Kucherov, who's unreal. Stamkos. You have obviously Sergachev, who just got hurt for probably the rest of the season. That's absolutely horrible. That was just a horrible play for such a horrible, not horrible person, but like he just had an injury the whole season, came back and just got hurt again for the whole season. Absolutely horrible. You have Hedman, you have Vasilevsky, man, you have Braden Point. This team is really good. So like, yes, they'll make playoffs, but should they be content? I'll say make playoffs. I'll say make playoffs because there's a lot of good teams in this Eastern Conference, and I don't think Lightning have that expectations like they did a couple years ago, where they every year, like, yeah, they're making the Stanley Cup Finals, but now unless, okay, like, they're a really good team and they could win, they could make the Stanley Cup for sure, but it's not like expected from them, you know. Okay, Toronto Maple Leafs should contend, man. They can't go off of last year and be like, yep, we're losing the first round again. No, you have to build on that and win another round. If they lose in the first round again, it is an absolute horrible season for them, man. It is an abysmal season. I know their defense is horrific, goalies sometimes are horrific, but Matthews is on a tear right now. They need to do it in the playoffs. Honestly, I'm kind of scared. I feel like they lose in the first round again. Not gonna lie, I feel like they do, but they're gonna be playing what, Tampa Bay again, I'm guessing. Ooh, Florida. Yeah, they lose to Florida. If they play Florida again, they lose to Florida, but Tampa's 1 point behind them. So a lot of things could be happening here. Honestly, they're barely in the playoffs right now. Let's be real here. But they should be winning a first round. I don't think they do. Honestly, I think they lose to Florida. I think they lose to Tampa Bay. Honestly, I think they lose to both those teams, but they need to win those. They need to win those. Vancouver Canucks, guys. This is interesting. Honestly, it's their first year in playoffs for a couple years, and usually it'd be like, okay, should contend, make playoffs. Honestly, Stanley Cup or bust. This team, there's a lot of rumors going on that Pettersson is not going to stay there. Lindholm, he's not signed. He's still a UFA next year, so they went kind of all in on him. Like, if you guys lose in the first round this year or second round this year, your team is kind of like not bad, but you still have Besser, maybe you still have obviously Quinn Hughes, you still have Demko, but you might be losing a Pettersson. You're going to be probably losing a Lindholm unless you guys send him the bag. But like, it's a Stanley Cup or bust. I feel like you're going to be losing a lot of good players on this team. You guys do not win that Lord Stanley this year. Honestly, I don't think you guys do. You guys don't have that much experience. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun playoff series to watch with them. But like, who are you guys gonna be playing? You guys are what, first in the Pacific, second in the Pacific, first in the Pacific, pretty far. So you guys should end up being first in the Pacific when it's all done. So that means you'll be playing. You might be first in the Western Conference. It means you'll be playing like a St. Louis, a Kings. You'll win a playoff series. Then you guys, after that, you're going to be playing in the Oilers, Vegas. You're going to be playing a really good team after that. So we'll see what happens there. But Stanley Cup or bust. Stanley Cup or bust for them. Vegas Golden Knights, this is Stanley Cup champions, right? They're the defending Stanley Cup champions. Is it Stanley Cup or bust? I would say not. I would say they should contend. Obviously, we might want to put them in a higher caliber since they just won it. Like, we should put them on a higher standard. But like, even if they lose, they're still going to have a good team next year. Eichel's hurt. They've been going through some injuries. Even if they lose this year, which I think they'll win a couple of playoff series, I don't think they lose in the first round. I think they lose to Edmonton this year in the second round. I think they're right back there next year. I think they're right back there next year. This team is really built well. Obviously, they're a little bit older with Pietrangelo, Martinez, Aiden Hill. How's he going to do? Mark Stone up front. A couple older players. Obviously, Mark Stone's not getting any younger. Same thing with Eichel, man. So this team is, I wouldn't say Stanley Cup or bust, but I think in the next couple of years, it's Stanley Cup or bust. But right now, I think it should contend. I think they will contend. I think that's a good spot for the Vegas Golden Knights. Capitals, I don't think they're a playoff team right now. They're a couple points out. I just don't think they're built that way. I think there's no hope for the Capitals. It's the bad thing with this is, like, the whole thing the Capitals fans wanted, like, cool, they got their Stanley Cup. Now they wanted Ovi to get that goal record. He's going to get that goal record. But boy, oh boy, is it not going to be as easy as we thought. He's not putting up 50 this year. He's been absolutely horrible this year. That fall off has been absolutely abysmal. But there's no playoff hope. Obviously, they're only a couple points out, but I just don't think they have that roster built for it. They just need Ovi to get those goals. And honestly, he's not even doing that. So it's kind of scary for the Capitals fans. Hopefully, he can do that because that's honestly all that they're hoping for. Winnipeg Jets here. This is interesting, man, because they've been so good this year. I wouldn't say Stanley Cup or bust, or is it Stanley Cup or bust? Because how, like, can you really expect Hellebuck to do this many more years after this? Should contend. Where are they in the standings? Who would they be playing? They're third in the Central. Most likely, they'll finish third in the Central. So that means they're playing a Colorado or Dallas Stars. They're not beating one of them. They're making playoffs. I'm sorry. They're not beating that. Like, if I'm being honest with you, I feel like would they want to be a wild card and play like a Vancouver? I don't think you're beating. I mean, they could beat Dallas. I won't be disrespectful. I'll put them should contend because they have a good enough roster. They have a best goalie in the NHL. They have good forwards if they're all healthy. Kyle Connor's unreal. They have what it takes to beat Dallas. I think if they play Dallas, I think they could take them to game 6, game 7. They just need to use that home ice advantage. They have playoff experience from last year against Vegas. Obviously, they couldn't hold home ice advantage on them. They lost a couple games. Obviously didn't have home ice advantage, but like they didn't win their games on home ice that they needed to make that a series. So I think should contend. I think they can win a series. I think them and Dallas. I think Dallas wins that series, but I think it's gonna be close. It's gonna be a hard-fought series. I wouldn't be surprised if Jets actually do end up winning that series. So I'm gonna say should contend. Obviously, I think they make playoffs, but it's gonna be tight. It's gonna be a tough race there. Calgary Flames, where are they in the standings, man? This team is so interesting. They're a couple points out. They're only 3 points out. I'm gonna say fringe playoff team. I don't really like how this team's built. I don't know, man. Like, obviously Huberdeau's playing Kadri. They have good players, man. They really do have good players. Markstrom might get dealt. Who knows with this team? I feel like they're a seller team, not a buyer team, because this team needs to be built better. I feel like they need to get better personnel who actually want to be there. I feel like half their players do not want to be there in Calgary. So they're a good team on paper, but they just don't put it on the ice. And I wouldn't be surprised if they do make playoffs, but even if they do, they're going to be out of their first round. Last but not least, guys, is the Buffalo Sabres. And honestly, guys, I might put them in this one scenario. Yeah, guys, they're like, what is wrong with this team, man? Same thing with, I would say same thing with the Devils. They were the Cinderella team with the Devils last year. They were unreal, barely missed out on the playoffs. I think it was 1 or 2 points. This team was unreal. Donnelly took that next step. Like, oh my God, man. Like, just listen, like them being this bad is so like bad for the NHL. I feel like Tage Thompson had all this hype going into the season. He hasn't been doing good. Alex Tuch's been like, they have a lot of players. Like, look at these points, guys. Casey Middlestat is number 1 with 42 points. Rasmus Dahlin 39. Then there's JJ Peterka 34. You have Skinner with 34. You have Tuch with 34. You have Tage Thompson with only 29, guys. Tage Thompson was unreal last season. Dylan Cousins only 29. Owen Power. This team, man. Zach Benson, he's a good bright spot for their team, but like a lot of good young players. Obviously, a bright future still. But we thought they're going to take a next step and maybe sneak in the playoffs this year. But they definitely went backwards from last season. So maybe the last season was just, they went over expectations and went too far. And we just expected that again. So maybe they just went too good last year. And obviously, okay, I wouldn't say no hope. So I would put a new category for the Sabres because there's no hope, man. Like, there's obviously hope with this organization. You have a lot of good young players. You're a really, really good team. But like, is there a chance of getting Celebrini here? Most likely not. Let's breathe her. So I think you're just going to keep building. I don't think there's no hope. I saw no hope for this season, basically. No hope for this season. Get back next year. Develop your younger guys. And just hopefully you guys can they can buy in and play the right way and win some hockey games. So that is that, guys. I keep saying, oh, it's going to be a shorter video. 30 minutes later. I'm so sorry, guys. But thank you so much for being here, guys. Comment down below. What do you think about these predictions? What do you think about your team? I think I did pretty damn solid here. There's a lot of teams on a playoff fringe, all that kind of stuff, guys. It's gonna be a sick ending to the season, guys. So thank you so much for being here. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe. It really does help out a lot. Make sure to watch all my video, guys. Bangers gonna be coming out. So thank you so much for being here. You're great. Be great, and I'll see you guys later.